third graders. I'm so excited to see you. Oh, wait a minute. Well, I can't really see you, but I'm so excited that you can see me. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. We've been talking a lot about weather and climate, and today we get to take a tour around the world to see how different places have different climates. Now you might be thinking, Mrs. Webb, what is climate? Let me tell you. Climate is a pattern of weather that repeats itself year after year. For example, in Washington, we can say that in the winter it's cold and in the summer it's warm. Those are patterns of weather that describe Washington's climate. Throughout our video, we are going to talk about 3 different climates: temperate, tropical, and polar. As you're observing those different climates, you'll be thinking about, I wonder why they have different climates. Because at the end of the video, I'm going to ask you to answer this question. What are some factors that affect climate in different parts of the world? I think you'll know the answer at the end of the video. Now, during the video, I'm going to ask you to write down some notes so that we can later look at some patterns and discuss some of the different areas of the world. So what you're going to need is any piece of paper, doesn't matter as long as you have room to write on it, and a pencil or a pen or something to write with. Okay? Do you have it? No? Well, then go get it. Pause the video and go get it. Did you get your paper and pencil? Good. The first thing I want you to write down is our first stop, Cambridge Bay, Canada. It's right here in the banner at the bottom of the screen. Pause the video and write it down. Are you ready to get started? So let's pack your bags, grab your tickets, and let's take off. Our first destination is Cambridge Bay, Canada. You can find Cambridge Bay in northern Canada. It is a small town on Victoria Island. Not very many people live there. Let's look at where Cambridge Bay is compared to the equator. The equator is an imaginary line that goes around the center of the Earth. We can see that Cambridge Bay is really far away from the equator. It's almost at the top of the Earth near the North Pole. Let's add that to our notes. Underneath Cambridge Bay, write really far away from the equator. The average temperature chart shows that most of the year the temperature in Cambridge Bay is below freezing, and it does not get much warmer during the summer months. That sounds like a weather pattern or a description of Cambridge Bay's climate. Write this in your notes. Cold all year. This town and the area around it has a polar climate. Ooh, let's get that in our notes. Polar climate. Write it down. Let's check our notes really quick. This is what I have written down. Location A, Cambridge Bay, Canada, really far from the equator, cold all year long, polar climate. Check your notes. Do you have these things? Pause the video to write them down. Oh, this place is really cold. Let's pack our bags and get out of here. We are landing at location B, Yuma, Arizona, in the United States. Whenever you see my little notepaper friend pop up on the screen, pause the video and write in your notes. Yuma is a city in Arizona. It is near the southwestern border of the state. Most of Arizona is a desert. Look at where Yuma is compared to the equator. It's not as far away as Cambridge Bay, but we would still consider it far away. Pause and write it down. Yuma has temperatures that change throughout the year. Although winter in Yuma can be cool, summer is usually very hot. In fact, Yuma is known for being the sunniest place on Earth. The sunlight warms up the city. Yuma is also known for being one of the driest places on Earth. It rarely rains in Yuma. Because the temperatures change throughout the year, Yuma and the area around it have a temperate climate. Check your notes. Location B, Yuma, Arizona, United States. Far away from the equator, temperature changes throughout the year, temperate climate. It is so hot and dry here in Yuma. My skin needs lots of lotion. I'm ready to change locations. Let's head out. We have arrived in Manaus, Brazil. Manaus is one of the largest cities in northern Brazil. A tropical rainforest surrounds Manaus. It is located where two rivers meet. Look at where Manaus is compared to the equator. I would say that is near the equator. Manaus has high temperatures throughout the year. January is just as hot as July in Manaus. Rain also falls frequently in Manaus. The city has a very wet climate, but it rains more during some months than others. The driest months are in the middle of the year, but even then, Manaus gets a lot of rain. Manaus has a tropical climate because the temperature stays hot throughout the whole year. Check your notes. This is what I have written down. Location C, Manaus, Brazil, near the equator, hot all year long, tropical climate. It is very wet in Manaus. I'm ready to go somewhere else. Let's go. We have just landed in the capital of Argentina, Buenos Aires. This city sits on the east coast of Argentina, next to the Atlantic Ocean. Almost 3 million people live there. That's a lot of people. Buenos Aires is pretty far away from the equator. Look at the temperature in Buenos Aires. It changes throughout the year, but unlike the United States, it is warm at the beginning of the year in January and colder in the middle of year in July. What is the climate for Buenos Aires? Is it polar, temperate, or tropical? Let's take a look at our notes so far. Buenos Aires, Argentina is far away from the equator, has temperatures that change throughout the year. What does that tell us about the climate? Look back at the other locations that we visited and the notes you've taken. Is there another location that is similar to Buenos Aires? Did you find Yuma, Arizona in your notes? Far away from the equator, temperature changes throughout the year. Its climate is a temperate climate. Because Buenos Aires has a similar distance from the equator and similar temperatures that change throughout the year, we can say that Buenos Aires also has a temperate climate. Boy, it's warm here in Buenos Aires. I kind of like this weather. I think I'm going to go get my swimsuit on and go swimming. See you at the airport. Our plane has landed at Hope Bay in Antarctica. We are at Base Esperanza, a research station. There are less than 100 people that live in Hope Bay. Hope Bay is really far away from the equator, almost at the bottom of our Earth, near the South Pole. The average temperature in Hope Bay is very cold. It's cold in the beginning of the year, it's colder in the middle of the year, and it's cold at the end of the year. What is the climate for Hope Bay, Antarctica? Is it polar, temperate, or tropical? Let's take a look what we have in our notes. We know that it is really far away from the equator, and it is cold all year long. What does that tell you about the climate? Find another location in our notes that is similar to Hope Bay. Did you find Cambridge Bay, Canada? Because Cambridge Bay and Hope Bay are both really far away from the equator, cold all year long, we say that they have a polar climate. Oh, it is really cold here too. I don't like it when it's this cold. I'm ready to get out of here. We have arrived at our last destination before going home. We are in southwestern Kenya in a town called Lodwar. Lodwar is the largest town in this area. Lodwar is very near the equator, and it has temperatures that stay hot all year long. What is the climate for Lodwar? Can you figure it out on your own? Pause the video, look at your notes, and then come back to see if you got it right. Did you say tropical climate? Great job! Lodwar and Manaus are similar, and they both have tropical climates. Oh, it is really hot here. I don't think it's ever going to cool off. I'm ready to go home. Yay, we all made it back from our trip around the world. One more thing to do. Remember in the beginning of the video, I said that at the end of the video, I would have you answer a question? Well, now it's the end of the video. The question is, what are some factors that affect climate in different parts of the world? I know you know this answer because you used it to guess about the climates of the last few locations. Here is how you can turn that answer into me. You can email me at dwebb@bethelsd.org, and you can either just type the answer into the email message, or if you like to write on paper, write your answer down on a piece of paper, take a picture of it, and attach that to the email. Goodbye, everyone. I hope you enjoyed my video.